Hello everyone, Elijah here. I'll welcome you all to another Abyss Challenge Mode video. We are on floor 6. This is the team we'll be using. It covers everything we need to cover, having 3 Dark Heroes on the team, defeating the boss afflicted with weakness, which to grant him weakness, all you have to do is hit him while having 4 more buffs. Um, 3 times, and he'll inflict weakness on himself. Using this team, he is more than likely going to have 4 more buffs a lot of the time. The only downside, I would say that you could replace Troublemaker with a different knight. Probably a knight that doesn't grant critical hit resistance. You could grant, because I think that's what I have for his S3, right? It grants like critical hit resistance. So you can replace him with a different knight. I just didn't want to re-gear any of my units, so I opted for this team. You could aim for better stats with a lot of these units, but I managed to do it without having to re-gear anybody other than changing out their artifacts, which, I'm very on the poor side when it comes to gold, which is why I tried to make a team like this. So we'll start off with Landy, who will be our DPS for this, who, she kind of excels a lot with one being able to grant herself an extra turn with her S3. So she's going to have a bunch of buffs a lot of the time. You can get your S3 back up and cycle very fast throughout this fight. This is her build. This is my standard PvP Landy. The only thing I changed was putting her on Bloodstone so that our team would have more sustain. Then for our 3 Dark Heroes, we first have... Oh, I just passed by her. We first have our TCrozet. 250 to, I guess 230 to 250 speed is fine. Have some decent, HP defense. Aim for a little bit of effect resistance if you can spare it, but more so if you can't, it's fine. More so aim for effectiveness, because you do want to be able to land the restrict. I did change her EE to the one to restrict due to the fact that the minions that Lugwit has does grant, do they CR push themselves every time you use a non-attack skill, being, our Kid S3, and our Sinful Angelica's S3, and also our Troublemaker Cosette's S3. Things like that. So you want them not to outlap you and because they also apply decreased hit chance and things like that. Just a very annoying thing to deal with. So you want to make them as slow as possible because they are extremely slow without that CR push. So the restrict is very useful for that. My Troublemaker Cosette, he's on Aureus. He just wants some damage mitigation. You can replace Troublemaker with like Shadow Knight Pilus if you do have her. She's another good knight for damage mitigation, while also she's able to provoke the minions in front, which could help the team out a lot. She also grants some good sustain and, a shield and whatnot, a barrier with her S3, and just a bunch of stuff. So she's another knight suggestion if you do have her built. And then we have our Sinful Angelica. I have her on Touch of Reiko's for the sustain purposes. This is just a standard Sinful build. Actually, most Sinfuls will be built a lot faster. But yeah, I just didn't have to spend much gold changing out their gear, which is why I opt for a team like this. And then try to get her to have decent effect resistance. And the effect resistance isn't to deal with the fact that Ludwig will steal your buffs, because he's going to do it no matter what. It's more so to deal with the fact that the minions, they stun, and they can also decrease hit chance. So you do not want your units to be stunned or decrease hit chance. And hopefully you just gotta hope that your Landy doesn't get targeted. And even if she does get targeted, you can hold on to your Crozet's S3 to cleanse Landy. I typically use it to CR Pusher and Cleanser if there's any debuffs on my Landy. So yeah, and you also have your Clear Carissa to also cleanse debuffs. So that is the team comp, pretty standard. You shouldn't, if you have these units built already, you shouldn't have to change their gear at all, really, which is really the plus side to this team. And yeah, I will take you all into the video of me beating this floor. So this fight was relatively long. I essentially brute forced my way through this entire boss fight. I really wasn't paying much attention to the mechanics, so I will let you in on some things to be mindful of. One, those ads in the front, they will give, um, the blue one will give, I think, counterattack buff and counterattack and increased attack. And the yellow one will give immunity and, well, I guess we'll see, immunity and increased attack. And Lugwood will steal everything. As you can see, there's a lot of buffs there. Also, AoE attacks. I'm pretty sure AoE attacks decrease. I guess we'll see if that is the case. No, it's not the case. Oh, okay. So, this is what I'm putting together. I'm literally learning as I'm rewatching this video. Um, Attacking him while he has buffs up will lower the cooldown of his S3. So, essentially, you would want to strip that away. I think his S3 damage is... It scales with... It seems like it scales with the amount of buffs he has, because when he has no buffs later on, when he does his S3, it did like no damage. So I think that's kind of how that works with this. You see I'm just like not really caring too much about what's going on. I try to stun the people in the front just to avoid them applying any decreased hit chance. Also just like waiting out the turn so that Ludwig doesn't have like any buffs up. And then we, go back in, beating him up. But yeah, you can essentially just brute force your way through this. You don't really have to think too much. Be mindful of the stealth. The stealth, I think, he cleanses and stealths whenever he has a debuff. So be mindful of that. Your Sinful can grief you. Other than that, it doesn't really matter too much. But again, Landy being here, you should be able to knock him out of stealth relatively fast. And you generate a bunch of souls with this team. I was very hesitant after realizing I could give him immortality. I was very hesitant on at what points I use my Sinful's S3, but try to use it not after he uses his S3, but like the next turn after that. So, because after he uses S3, he will take everybody's buffs, so be mindful of that. And yeah, after that, it's just pretty much just DPS racing, I guess, or sustaining throughout the fight. Touch of Reikos does come in clutch very hard, and it will allow you to basically negate the damage that is being done here on him, or on your team. So yeah, I will leave you off with this video to continue playing, and if you guys did enjoy, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, as well as let me know what comps that you use if you use a different composition for this floor. And I will see you all in the next video. Peace.
I hate getting hurt. Filthy creatures. It's time to tear them to pieces. Destroying everything? Leave it to me. Let me show you my secret weapon. Respect the great land! For Felicia.
I can see you. Finally, my sword has some work to do.
I want to rest. I'll do what I want. Meow. Here, up the top. Why not surrender? Requesting approval. And granted. Removing restrictions. Charge!
Who let these guys off their leashes? I will not lose! Shadows. Ball.
go home after I kill this one? Clarissa wants to play. Meow. Don't give up. Meow. This is the start. Meow. I'm at the scene.
This one seems a good match.
Please, don't talk to me. Leave it to me. I'll do what I want. Now, over.
Come on, let's fight. Don't be surprised.
I hate getting hurt. Why not surrender? Let me show you my secret weapon. That's the great land! I'm at the scene. Destroying everything? This team is a
Go to your grave. Finally, my sword has some work to do. Give me a hand over there.
Oh, I want to rest. For Felicia. Full frontal assault. That's an order. Will you play with me now?
This sword is the only thing in this world I trust.
Can I go home after I kill this one? Why not surrender? Destroying everything? It's too annoying. Is it time for me now? This is the start. Meow. Now more fire. I'm at the scene.
Finally, my sword has some work to do. I will fight until the bitter end.
I'll do what I want. Meow. I'll blow everything away. Meow. Ugh, I hate getting hurt. Sometimes darkness can become your light. Leave it to me. Requesting approval. And granted. Removing restrictions. Charge! For Felicia. Clarissa wants to play. Meow. Meow.
With the light. Disappear.
Anything dark. Why not surrender? This is the start. Meow. Do your best. Meow. Will you play with me now?
Come on, let's fight.
Ta-da! Here comes Landy!
Sacred power.